Build your better breakfast at Subway with the tasty 250 combo, a 16-ounce cup of freshly brewed Seattle's best coffee, and any delicious egg muffin melt. And don't hit the snooze on this deal. Right now, come in before 11 a.m. for a $5 foot-long breakfast sub. Subway, eat fresh. The B.S. Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
this is the B.S. Report with Bill Simmons.
It might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't care.
The B.S. Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the sports guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The B.S. Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the B.S. Report. It's been a monsoon here in Southern California. I don't know what's going on. And also my tears are also raining down my cheeks because I got killed again in week 15. On the line right now, Subway Fresh Take Hotline. Cousin Sal, what's happening?
Yo, Billy. Yeah, the East Coasters, they could rejoice because we are getting pounded out here with rain.
Yeah, and Southern California is not prepared for the rain. People ask why I like to give the weather reports ahead of time. It's really because I haven't thought of any other gimmick to start the podcast with. So if you can come up with a better one, tell me.
Yeah, we need something to open the first 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Like maybe explaining why the hell I'm on the line or something. I don't know.
Quickly, let's do Pats-Packers first. Did you take away anything from that game?
I almost gave away about $6,000.
Oh.
No. Well, I don't know. They couldn't have really gotten up for this game, right? Like,
no, it just seemed like a lot of people blowing a lot of smoke up their butts and backup QB playing. We just have to show up to win. And
right.
It's one of those games.
The writing was on the wall. But on the other hand, you don't want them peaking a little too early like they've done in the past, these great Pats teams. So,
I actually like the Packers, and if you remember last week when we talked about this game in the podcast, I thought I was scared of that game, but then the Matt Flynn thing just totally, but he wasn't bad, and the Packers defense wasn't bad, and the Pats have now proven that they have trouble stopping these oversized, no-name white guys.
Right. And that's the thing with the Pats. We've talked about this. They've done such a good job of getting a big lead, ahead of time. Yeah. You don't have to see if their run defense is bad or anything like that.
Yeah, their secondary makes plays, which is when they have a big lead, their defense looks a little better than it is. It's in these tighter games when teams can run on them. That's when I get a little scared. And I thought, I keep looking at Baltimore as the team that really could give the Pats a lot of trouble if in round 2 or the AFC title game, whatever. That just seems like a bad matchup for this Pats team. And last year they went into New England and they won.
They are a similar team to the Pats in that they have now Ray Rice is picking up, so it's sort of like they have an explosive player with the minor league version of the Pats offensive scheme. So
yeah, that was the most important game yesterday, other than the Philly Giants game. I thought was the fact that the Ravens really played a good game from start to finish against a good team that was trying and wanted to win. And I'd kind of given up on that Baltimore team. And now you think they're going to be a 5 seed or a 6 seed probably.
Yeah.
Although, actually, how does that work? You know this better than I did with the division.
If they win the division, well, Pittsburgh wins their remaining games. They win the division.
Yeah, Pittsburgh has the upper hand. So Baltimore is going to be 5 or 6. 5 would have them going into San Diego, which I think would be trouble for them.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you think?
You're giving San Diego the division? I guess if San Diego wins the division.
It's just hard for me to believe the Chiefs are actually going to win this division. Really? They're going to win the division?
I was ready to talk you into the Raiders winning it. They really have a shot here. They really do if we look at it. But
all right, you know what? Let's wait till next week to do the here's what could happen game. But
okay.
I'd much rather go into Kansas City.
If you're the Ravens.
Yeah. Or if I'm the Jets, I'd much rather go into Kansas City. I don't want to face Phil Rivers.
Yeah. So, but you're saying, so if they drop to a 6 seed, you're not saying either of those teams would drop to a 6 seed.
Who?
The Ravens, or you're
the Ravens or the Jets have to be a 6 seed. One of those two does.
Wait, who's the 5? Oh, one of those two does.
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
So
the third place team you're saying is the Colts or the Jags.
Oh, I screwed that up. You're right because the AFC West will be the 3 seed.
Yeah, I'm thinking that. There's too many wins in that conference, in that division.
Wow, Indy-Baltimore would be just a spectacular round.
Yeah, that's fun.
Even your dog's excited for that.
Now we start our Michael Vick talk.
So we didn't even have, you came over yesterday with some friends and we watched, we only had 4 TVs going, and then it was raining so hard that my Time Warner cable froze.
Yeah.
So we really only had 3 TVs. So Philly Giants was not on one of the TVs. Philly scored. Didn't even hesitate to not flick over. Philly scored again. Still, whatever. And then all of a sudden, they're driving for the tie. And, how did the Giants come back from that?
I don't think they do. I think they are done. And I love it.
My Giant fans friends say that other than the San Francisco playoff game with the center who couldn't snap, because that ended their season.
Losses. Yeah. Remember, didn't the Titans come back and beat them in Tennessee? That was a bad loss. I'd like to think as a Cowboys fan, I've experienced the most miserable losses in the last decade, but the Giants are getting up there. They've won some big ones.
I think that was the worst regular season loss we've seen because it was the combo of not just a 10 out of 10 terrible blow the game loss, but then the way they lost it on that play was also a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So the combo was like 100.
Right. Yeah, that could be tough. That is going to be tough for them to come back. And I think we both like Green Bay, and they go to them. Well, we're already getting into the Week 16 games, but
I do like Green Bay. Flynn wasn't terrible. I mean, he had, obviously the 2-minute drill was a little beyond what his means were, and he made the 2 terrible picks that you knew he was going to throw.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it was pretty good. I mean, if you went into that game and you said he's going to make 2 terrible passes and he's going to have trouble running the 2-minute drill, you would have said, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, I think he managed the game well, and he made some nice tosses, too.
Yeah, he was good.
A few times.
I mean, for a backup, I thought he was maybe
At
not
this day and age, if you're
level.
not leading your receiver into a concussion, you're doing a good job, right?
We were watching that when Austin Collie went down. It's like he's like Kenny from South Park at this point. Every week he just goes down and he's unconscious.
We were actually like sad for him, like, oh, get him out. Don't do it anymore. What is this?
It really, especially if you've had 2 concussions, I think at that point you just run outs with him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you put him over the middle anymore, at least for this season.
And Peyton Manning is great and everything, and you have to love the precision in which he throws passes, but oftentimes he is sliding it in between 2 defenders, and he throws dangerous passes. I mean, they look pretty when they work because a lot of times the receiver will split the defenders and then go straight to pay dirt. But it's rough. It must be rough.
I blame him. I think he feels like he's so good, his receivers are expendable, so he just puts them in harm's way all the time.
He wants to kill people.
Selfish guy.
Yep.
All right, let's do Week 16.
All right,
let's do your annual Saturday thing.
What is it?
You love this. It's yet another day that you have an excuse not to spend time with your family.
It's a weird thing though, because this Saturday is it's Christmas Day. So.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, and there's
Christmas Eve.
And there's a Thursday game, but we'll get to it. All right, so you're 8-3-4 in terms of winning these stupid picks, and
right.
I need to do a lot of work. Hopefully they'll move to 18 games this year, and I'll be able to catch up. But
you're basically the Browns. You're just playing for pride.
This is it. I'm just looking to cover in our picks contest.
I'll tell you one thing. I didn't even look at the schedule for a second. I'm like the Pats last night. I'm already looking ahead.
I know. Yeah. You're brilliant the way you pull it off, having no knowledge. Yeah. All right, let's figure out Carolina at Pittsburgh.
That's our Thursday night game.
That's Thursday night.
So. Carolina beat Arizona at home last night, even though they just basically had to not win again, and they guaranteed themselves the number 1 pick. And somehow Jimmy Clausen, whose job was on the line, as I wrote on Friday, because if they get the number 1 pick, they'll pick Andrew Luck, and he's out of luck.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a pretty good game yesterday. They win. But then improbably, since he wins.
Well, we were talking about this. It's not like basketball. I think it's hard for a football team to tank because first of all there's so many more moving parts and there's so many more interests. And yeah, you want the number 1 pick, but the number 1 pick in basketball seems to mean more than in football in terms of plus you have to sign these guys and there's the money and you might have 3 guys at 3 positions you need to fill, and also you got the coach who's probably going to be fired if you put up a 1-15. So he's going to try to win. So it's hard for them to tank.
Well, you make a good point because the two coaches involved here are John Fox, who's going to get fired, and Marvin Lewis, who's going to get fired.
Right.
So it's hard for the front office, and this is something the Celtics did with Doc Rivers when the Durant-Oden lottery. They went to him and they said, at least this is what I think would happen. They were like, look, we want to go for this lottery pick. We're not going to fire you. Play the young guys, take the hits, and that's what he did, and they gave him an extension.
Yeah.
If I was Carolina, I would have done that with John Fox because we're having a lockout anyway. So,
and John Fox, in terms of getting hired again, which his name is already thrown around.
He's a good coach. They just have no talent. I mean, he gets blamed a little bit, but I don't think he's.
Yeah.
So
if he went up 1-15, he wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't really hurt his future, prospective job offers. But the
team that screwed up was Cincinnati. Although it really seems like they're going to fire Marvin Lewis. But I would have brought in the Black Sheep Palmer brother last weekend. Yesterday. Carson Palmer's bad, but he's not as bad as his brother.
Oh, I thought this has been the brother the last 4 weeks. This is
what?
Carson Palmer? I have to check.
Oh, you might be right. Has anybody investigated this?
Who would even know? Yeah.
All right, I'm going to say for the Pittsburgh-Carolina line Thursday night, Pittsburgh by 13.
All right, I hit this on the nose. I said a healthy 14, and that's what it is.
Did you say a healthy 14 or
I
just
did.
14?
Well, I have written right there. I may not have spelled it right. It's 2 E's, right?
Hey, quick thing. I want to congratulate each other for we recommended the San Diego-Dallas tease last week. Didn't do it. Then I called you yesterday and I said, I like some of these underdogs in the 5 to 6 range. Why don't we just bet 4 of them? If we hit 3, we'll make some cash.
Yeah, we like the Jags, Bills, Lions, and
Jets.
There was another winner. Jets,
and the Jets.
Right. Yeah.
So we talked about it. Then we decided, no, instead we'll just parlay a couple of them. So, of course, the Jags lost. And the other 3 won. It would have been great. So I had all these bets I liked, and somehow
you might as well add to that we both thought the Cowboys-Redskins line was way too high.
We stayed away from that, too.
We went about 6 rounds going back and forth about why that's way too high, 9.5 points. And, we didn't do that either.
This is a bad sign for Donovan McNabb because I had Dallas in the Super Contest all week, given 6. They make a QB change on Friday to Grossman, the much-maligned Rex Grossman.
Right.
And I'm thinking, oh, crap, he's better than McNabb. I might have to pull Dallas out of the contest, and then ultimately decided not to. But hey, I shouldn't have fear that Donovan McNabb is being benched for Rex Grossman when I'm picking against the Redskins. That might be a sign for him to hang it up.
That is a good sign, yeah. When there's arbitration is in the mix, that you should come in and be a character witness.
I'll testify. All I can tell you is I was scared.
That was a weird game. That Saturday, Dallas plays at Arizona.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? The Cowboys don't have a good history there.
No. We don't have really good history anyway. I don't know. I don't like this.
Well, very quickly, I'm going to look at the standings here. So Arizona's 4-10. Oh, so they're out. They have no chance at the
They're done.
World.
That's another bet we lost. We bet them to win the West at some point this season.
Are they definitely? Yeah, you're right. They're definitely done. So they've been eliminated.
It's so crazy. That team has 4 wins and 2 weeks left, and we're checking to see if they have a chance to win the division. And they actually 6-10, I guess. Yeah, only because these stupid teams play each other the last 2 weeks are they eliminated.
So Carolina's 2-12. They're going to lose this week, and then they're at Atlanta in Week 17. But that game might not mean anything.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it will.
They could be going against Atlanta's backup QB, and
oh, what a dilemma.
Denver's 3-11, and suddenly in the Andrew Luck hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
so they won't take him. They would take Andrew Luck? They couldn't take him.
I don't know. Dallas at Arizona. I'm going to say Dallas by 4.
All right, I said 5.5, and it's 6. So I get that one.
Yeah, this is the lack of preparation.
That's a little high, though. That's a little high. You remember these teams won divisions last year. They won, right? They won both the divisions.
There were a lot of guys wide open against the Cowboys yesterday. That
defense never looked softer than it did the end of the third, all the fourth quarter yesterday.
So, every play there was a guy who was open by 5 yards.
Yeah. I don't know.
Grossman started to look like Brady circa 2004 by the end of that game.
I don't know what to think. I mean, that was it. I mean, we looked at each other. We said, this guy's fired if they don't beat Washington, right? This is Jerry Jones' Super Bowl at this point.
I would still get a real coach.
Well,
I don't think he's shown enough. I don't think he's shown enough to keep the job, Garrett.
Marvin Lewis, the door's open.
Yeah.
Tennessee, all right, now we're at Sunday. Tennessee at Kansas City.
Wait, so there's only one Saturday game?
Yeah. Well, it's Christmas, so it kind of screws everything up.
Two. All right, what was the next one?
Tennessee at Kansas City.
Tennessee, another zigzag team. You think they're zigging and they zag. You think they're zagging and they zig. Although it did seem like yesterday, their first touchdown came. Collins throws it in a double coverage. Both cornerbacks go to catch it. They bat it up in the air, and it goes to the Tennessee receiver who runs to the 3-yard line. And it's like, all right, if that's going to happen, you're probably going to win.
Yeah, but that was also their grudge game, too, against the Texans, right? Texans beat them up, and that whole...
Because of the Finnegan thing?
Finnegan. Did we even see a highlight of Finnegan and Andre Johnson?
No.
Nothing? I mean, if this is hockey, they'd be the whole time. I'm disappointed in that.
It would have been a bigger story if the Philly Giants game just kind of blew everything that was happening.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't even get a stare down or anything.
So this is Titans-Chiefs.
Yep. Not a done deal for KC with this division. They're 9-5. Next week they play the Raiders, who I think is better than the Chiefs. So this is kind of a must-win.
I'm going to say Chiefs by it's either 5.5 or 6, and I'm going to say 6.
Yeah, either way you get it. I said 7.5. I thought it'd be higher. It's 5.
Yeah, all right.
So that's a tough one. I wouldn't take KC there, I don't think.
We've seen these 6-point underdogs. I'd love to research this. These underdogs that are in the 5.5 to 6.5 range seem to be pulling out wins every week.
This would be a great one to talk about Sunday for 45 minutes and then not do it and then have Tennessee.
Let's do that. Let's chuck that in.
All right, I'm going to make a note. Baltimore at Cleveland.
You know, I really wanted to. I rode Cleveland the last couple of weeks. I really thought they were going to be that the team that's not a playoff team but shows a lot of character down the stretch and pulls out some wins, and they let me down. Yeah. Last 2 weeks, I had them in the Super Contest both weeks, and both weeks they let me down.
Well, all right, so McCoy comes back this week. Lousy
yesterday.
Numbers. Averaged lousy numbers. Yesterday, right. He came back yesterday. He didn't do well. Maybe now he's back on track. Because, I mean, they haven't been that Cleveland team we've liked for a month now.
Yeah, it might be time to give up. The only thing with this Ravens-Browns game, it's the Art Modell Bowl, basically.
No, that's
the Browns
right.
always get fired up for this game.
Well, guess the line. You're smarter than me for recognizing. I forgot all about that, and I didn't factor that in. What do you think it is?
I'm going to say Ravens by 4.
All right, we're tied now. So, because I said 6.5, and it's 3.5. So you win that one.
Yeah, those games are always feisty, and the crowd always shows up for that.
Doesn't that seem low? This team has 10 wins.
If your wife left you and moved somewhere else, and then once a year she came back and you had to hang out with her, you'd have your game face on.
I guess so.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sure I'm going to have to utilize that at some point. San Fran at St. Louis. Here we go.
Oh,
huge game. Huge game.
God, what a disgrace that division is.
It really is like
it's a disgrace.
If Uzbekistan was forced to send a representative hockey team to the Winter Olympics, it's getting sad. And you know what else we did? We really should have looked for this. You know, a lot of times these teams are playing each other. Yesterday, none of them played each other, the NFC West teams, and they went 0-4 against the spread. I mean, we should just bet against them when that happens. You're not going to go worse than 2-2.
And somehow they're out playing each other in the last week.
Yeah.
So what was this line? I'm sorry, what was the matchup?
It's San Fran at St. Louis.
Ooh, St. Louis by 3.5.
I get this because I said 2 and it's 2.5.
Really?
I barely get it, yeah. San Fran's overvalued, right?
Every week.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Alex Troy Smith combo, who couldn't fall in love with that?
St. Louis, actually, they cut it to 2013, and they needed to get one stop in the last 5 minutes, and Charles just broke like a long one. Yeah. And that was it.
Yeah. Well, the problem is when you need a big play from them, you can't count on it. I hope Sam Bradford isn't declining. Show us something in the last couple of weeks.
I do wonder that throw that Bradford made in the Saints game when they were driving, it was 14-6. He threw that pick six.
Right before half, yeah.
Hasn't played well since that happened. I wonder if that shook his confidence.
Yeah, could be. Washington and Jacksonville.
Disappointing by the Jags yesterday.
That was weird.
The
bizarre backdoor cover.
Yeah. The onside kick for the touchdown.
Well, you should at least know where the onside kick is going, right? So there should be, 5 guys in the area.
Coughlin yelled at his punter. I thought the onside kick was much more egregious. It was just terrible. It was like a freaking dribbler.
Yeah, because it's completely planned, and it's right there for you. You should be able to figure out where the ball's going.
I kind of liked what I saw from Washington yesterday. Is that wrong?
No, they fought back a little, but talk about a zigzag team. They just really don't show up some weeks.
I'm going to say Jacksonville by 7.5.
All right, I was way off on this. I said 11, and it's 6.5. And so you get it. But I don't know, another must-win. They're a better team. Shouldn't it be higher?
So Jacksonville's basically done unless the Colts lose.
Right.
They need to win out and then pray for a Colts loss against. I'm looking it up right now as we're talking.
Well, Tennessee is the last week for the Colts.
So the Colts at Oakland next week, not a gimme.
Yeah, this week coming up. Yeah, it's a great game. And Jacksonville finishes at Houston. So
Houston, which now the 5-9 Texans just reeling at this point.
That should be it. Yeah.
You might want to fire Kubiak right now to at least try to get excited for these last 2 weeks. You know?
Well, we were talking about it. I said he has a contract clause in his contract says if he does anything but go 8-8, he gets a bonus. So congratulations.
A bonus, or he gets fired?
Yeah, no. The organization was just sick of going 8-8. So if you go 5 and if you go 7-9, or even 3-13,
right?
Just to mix it up. No line on this. Why would there be no line on this so far? New England at Buffalo. Let me check. 15 minutes ago, there was no line.
Because
who could be out? What
is it? Maybe because could New England clinch the number 1 seed before that game?
Oh, that's got to be it.
So that they could totally mail in that game if they wanted to?
Yeah. That sounds right?
Is it possible?
I actually am seeing a line on here.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So can we guess it or not?
Yeah, it's a very small casino like in Pahrump, but there's a line.
I feel like you called your friend Harry.
Yeah, basically Harry's setting us up.
So New England
you could guess it.
New England at Buffalo, I'm going to say 10.5.
I went higher. I said 12. It's 8. No one's betting Buffalo this game.
Yeah.
But I think it might be one of these things. Like maybe they don't have to win.
Hey, I got to throw this other thing at you.
Yeah.
The record for least amount of wins by a division is 22.
Wow.
NFC West has 21 right now. So they're going to break they're not going to set that record. It's a little disappointing.
They might. Maybe they'll just tie each other.
They'd have to have a bunch of ties.
They could figure it out.
Yeah.
But I have a money line parlay with the Patriots last night. Almost a heart attack game, and Boise State. I didn't even want to bother you with it Wednesday. They're like a 17-point favorite. I just need them to win. And the odds are not very good. Not in my favor at all. So,
I don't think you get that one.
Let's see it. Jets at Chicago.
How differently do you feel about the Jets than you did 24 hours ago?
I don't know. I don't think I think this is what they are. I really do. I think they go out there, and if Sanchez doesn't make mistakes, they're in every game because they're tough and they're January football and all that stuff. And it's hard to take anything away from Pittsburgh either because the Jets make you look bad and the Ravens make you look bad, and that's how some of these teams are. But they're still competing, I guess.
They are the ugly it up team of 2010.
I agree. Yeah.
Every game is like you watch it for 4 quarters and you don't even know what you just saw or how to describe it.
But I'll tell you what, the best thing you could say about them is they've played a lot of close games on the road now.
Yeah.
And they've played in cold weather, and I think Sanchez could kind of figure out how to play in cold weather now in the next month or so.
Yeah, I still don't trust them, but they seem like they've reverted to 2009 January 2010 mode with him, where they just don't want him to kill them.
Right.
So it's like just put him in spots where he doesn't kill them, and then let everything else kind of run its course, and hopefully the special teams play. I don't think they're very good, though. I mean, I think I couldn't imagine them winning 3 straight road games to make the Super Bowl. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Seems like
I didn't think it was going to happen last year either.
And they can't even get to 24 points against any of these good teams, which is another. At some point, you're going to have to put up points on the board.
Well, they're not they're not running all over teams like they were. Like LT is definitely, he's seen better days.
Yeah, he's slipped
this year.
So they put 28 against New England in Week 2, but then 0 against Green Bay in Week 8, 3 against the Pats, 6 against Miami, and then 22 against Pittsburgh. Yeah. The last time they scored 30 was Houston, which everybody scores 30 against Houston. They've only scored 30 plus 3 times, and 2 of the times were before week 5.
I trust them more on the road, though. Don't you feel the same way? Like what did you say? This 0 against the Packers.
Yeah.
3 or 6 against Miami. What was it 2 weeks ago?
Well, I wrote this a few weeks ago. Like I don't know if that's a home field advantage, and we saw it yesterday again in that Giants-Philly game. That stadium's pretty big, and I don't think there's an advantage like what we saw with that Dallas-Philly game, where it really did get loud in there and it felt like an atmosphere. I didn't feel that atmosphere at that.
Maybe there's ticket confusion. Maybe the Jet fans showed up yesterday, and the Giants fans showed up against Miami when the Jets played. That could be.
they mistimed the schedule?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like that stadium comes in like it used to.
No. Unless they're playing like a really bad team, like the Giants will roll over the Redskins or something, or Detroit or something. But Jets at Chicago. Now, we haven't seen the Bears play tonight.
Did you see it's going to snow tonight? We're taping this on a Monday.
Yeah.
So you just can't. For all the player safety, here we go, the annual phone call.
That's it.
For all the talk about player safety and all this stuff, I kind of agree with the disgruntled punter. Which was it, the Vikings punter or the Bears punter got all upset?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. What'd they say?
It just was talking about how, hey, you're making player safety such a big deal, and we're playing on a driveway tomorrow.
Yeah.
And anybody who hits their head on that surface is going to get a concussion.
Yeah. I wonder what the other players think about that when the punter calls it out. Like, you son of a bitch, you have to be out there for 5 plays, you catch the ball and kick it.
That's true.
And run to the sideline.
Yeah,
so
poor you.
What are you worried about?
I do think, though, like the Vikings, the Bears, they have so much more incentive to win this. If you're the Vikings and this surface is bad and the weather sucks and you're playing for this coach who obviously isn't coming back, don't you just check out?
Yeah.
Why are you trying in that game?
No, they don't need to try.
If you're Adrian Peterson, are you really going to be like, hey, man, I want 200 yards today? Like, you're going to be like, I want to get out of this game without getting hurt.
He might not even play.
I would come up with a fake hammy injury in like midway through the second quarter. Oh.
Yeah. Well, Brett Favre, they should all go to Brett Favre. Like, hey, how do you do it, man? I need a list of injuries. What have you used up?
It'd be funny if Favre tried to play. It was almost like a suicide mission. I'm just going out here and see what happens to my body. Anyway.
That was Vikings punter Chris Kluwe.
Oh, Chris Kluwe.
That's who was calling in?
Yeah. No, that was Chris Kluwe who complained about the surface. Thanks, Joe Mead.
All right. Jets at Chicago.
Jets at... Hey, Joe Mead.
Yeah?
We won the podcast award.
How about that? Sal,
congratulations.
Who did? We did? We all did?
There's a podcast award, and we won for Best Sports Podcast.
Really?
And
that's excellent.
Unlike the Fantasy Focus guys last year, I didn't pimp the hell out of our nomination.
Wow.
I think I tweeted it once, and we won. So those guys can go screw off.
Yeah. See that, Joe Mead?
But so what do we win?
So excited.
Do we get an award?
I think we get some kind of trophy.
Joe disappeared. We found out we won on Saturday, and Joe was gone for 24 hours. We still don't know where he went. He went out, he's like, I'm celebrating, and that was it. Nobody heard from him until Sunday night.
Joe, you try to rig it so we would lose, right?
No, it's an automatic bump in my salary. I got $1 million bonus. That's why I took off.
Joe Mead's living large now.
Oh, good for you.
No, but in all seriousness, thanks to everybody who voted for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
we weren't going to pimp that we were nominated, but it's nice that people voted. So
yeah, I don't know how anyone would have known to vote. I mean, Simmons didn't say anything.
If we did, I never said it once on the podcast. But I just think these awards where you have to, it comes down to voting. It's a little suspicious, but
yeah.
We'll
I mean,
take
this is nice for me because my grandfather won Best Podcast Award.
I know, it keeps it in the family.
37, so yeah, that'll be nice on the mantle. All right, Jets at Chicago. We can't get past this game.
We can't get past this game. Bears by 3.
That's what I said, and they only have the Bears by 1.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Why's that?
I don't know. Maybe just without having seen them tonight, you don't know what to make of them. I mean, their last game was an atrocity against the Pats, and if this one's close, maybe the Bears go back to how everyone wants to really view them. It's just a mediocre team with a shot to win that division.
I mean, I would argue that the Jets, well, I guess they only need to win one of their next 2, but it seems like that's a much more important game for the Bears.
The Jets, though, I think people are starting to realize that's on the road. You can't count them out, and they almost have an advantage.
Jets at Chicago week 16, and then home for Buffalo week 17. So they're in the playoffs.
Oh, they're going to be in, yeah. If they win.
Although, this would be a classic Jets collapse if everybody thought they were in. And all of a sudden they lost this, and San Diego's a game away, and it comes down. And then Ryan Fitzpatrick in New Giant Stadium lighting up the Jets.
Yeah. Don't
tell me the Jets fans aren't thinking about that scenario.
There you go. Joe Meade, you would love that.
Joe Meade, that would make your season.
Yes, it would.
Joe Meade, a scale of 1 to 10, how disgruntled are you about the C.J. Spiller pick?
Well, it's maybe too early to tell, first year.
You maybe want to get more out of your number 7 pick than a mediocre third down back.
No, I'm
guessing.
They need help on the lines. It's pretty indefensible to take another skill position player. They seem to have enough of those guys.
You thought he would give a little more. I certainly did. I traded for him in one of my leagues. I mean, I thought he was going to be this special teams ace who was breaking screen passes like a better version of Reggie Bush, and he stinks.
Well,
or at least he stunk this year.
We'll see. Give him one more year.
Let me tell you, the Bills were expected to win 5 games this year, right? And they're 4-10. We counted them out, and they went to overtime 11 times. So
yeah,
they're really not behind what was expected of them.
Yeah,
I'm trying to build you up, Joe Meade. We got this award, and now I'm
You got a quarterback now, Joe Meade?
Yeah.
I like Fitzpatrick.
You have an Ivy League quarterback. You should be happy. All right, Detroit at Miami.
Ugh. This Miami team. It's unbelievable. There can't have been a home road split like this in the history of the league.
Yeah. And if you're the Lions, you're playing Detroit, you must be psyched. You get to head to the warmer Miami Beach climate, and the Dolphins hate winning at home, so it doesn't really matter.
Miami 1-6 at home and 6-1 on the road. If they lose this, they go 1-7 at home. And then in Week 17, they play at New England in a game that the Patriots will be playing their third string. So they really have a chance to do 1-7 at home, 7-1 on the road. Incredible.
And I don't want to blame the fans, but doesn't it seem like if there's a 4-game difference with home and away, they should have to move? At least for a year.
I think you have to blame the fans a little bit, though. This is the same city that had to have the Fan Up campaign for LeBron James.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to say this is the first week that Vegas actually says, you know what, we have to start incorporating the home field disadvantage. So, Miami by 4.5.
All right, you read that right, or at least righter than I did. I said 5.5, and it's 3.5.
Ooh, they really factored it in.
That's not fair, though. I mean, just yesterday weren't they 5.5 over Buffalo?
Yeah.
Well, why should that be? I mean, I don't know.
Do we like this Lions team?
Yeah, I get. Every theory I've had, I've just thrown out the window. I'm like, lousy quarterback on the road. Let's take the home team. I know the Bucs seems low, but and then Drew Stanton wins on the road. But maybe it's just because there's too many lousy quarterbacks now. So you can't even go by
Since Week 6, lose to the Giants by 8 and they cover. Mm-hmm. Beat Washington at home, cover. They lose to the Jets at home in overtime, cover. They lose at Buffalo, but cover. They lose at Dallas, do not cover because they get killed. Same thing for the Pats next week. Bears at home, lose by 4, cover. Green Bay, home, cover. At Tampa, win, cover. So they've only not covered twice since week 5.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's since week 5. And week 1, they should have beat the Bears, right? Calvin Johnson's touchdown call back.
And they had the weird Philly game in week 2, and then they had that weird at Green Bay game, 28-26.
Yeah.
Where they had the 2-point, I think, to tie it. And
only the Pats have been embarrassed them. And in that game, they were winning the first half, and then Kid Rock sang a song, and it all went to crap.
Well, the Lions saw the Chris Henry piece at halftime. They got so emotional they checked out.
All right, Houston at Denver.
Speaking of checked out, wow, This is the checked out bowl.
You're up 6-4.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this one because it's Houston by 3.5.
All right. I looked at this game for really like 5 minutes, and I started getting really, really dizzy thinking about all the ways both these teams have blown games this year. And so I gave up and called it a pick, and you're closer. It's Houston by 3.
Yeah. Both of us liked what we saw from Tebow yesterday.
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
Yeah, have him in there. I don't know that Orton's the problem necessarily. I don't know what the problem is. That team should just be better.
Their defense is atrocious.
Yeah.
But I think at the very least, Tebow is a guy who is going to have a 20-year career as a backup and somebody who can play special packages, and that's his absolute worst-case scenario.
And he'll end up having 40,000 career passing yards and
you'll wonder what happened.
Like Kerry Collins.
Right.
All right, Indy at Oakland. Great game.
Great game. And Raiders are moving into my top 5 fan bases because sometimes they'll make a play at home and they'll show the crowd, and everybody's jumping up and down. There's no more excited fan base than that fan base.
Well, and I think the timing is just right when they're talking about like moving the team to L.A. and it's like, oh no, I can't do this to Oakland again.
Yeah, I'm so against that. Oakland should have that team.
Yeah.
So Oakland's not mathematically eliminated.
Oakland is 7-7.
They need 2 KC losses.
It's tough for them because they have to beat Indy, and then they'll have to beat KC. They play KC next week, so.
Okay, so they need a KC loss to Tennessee, conceivable.
Mm-hmm. And then beat KC next week.
And then they need San Diego to drop one of the next 2.
Well, I don't know what happens if all 3 end up 9-7.
Oh no!
But
did you see San Diego's last 2?
Oakland did beat San Diego twice. Did they split with KC or?
Yeah, but did you see San Diego's last 2 though? They're still going to win.
Yeah.
At Cincy, at Denver.
At Denver,
come on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And playing out of their mind, too.
I'm going to say Indy by, it's either 2.5 or 3, and I'm going to say 3.
I said 2.5, and it's 3.
Right.
You got it exactly.
Very fair line.
This is tough. This is not going to be a blowout. I mean, I even expected a blowout yesterday from Indy more than I do against Oakland.
I like the Raiders.
Good game. San Diego at Cincy.
San Diego at Cincy. It's a blowout. It's San Diego by 8.5.
All right. I said 8, and it's 7.5. So
it's a little low.
I win that one.
Let's throw them into a tease for old time's sake. Although, is that a 1 o'clock game?
No, it's late. It's late afternoon.
Still cold weather, though.
Cold, yeah, coming east. Can't we be done betting Cincinnati? We can't. Is there anyone we could bet anymore? Giants at Green Bay, there's no line on this.
Oh.
But let's pretend.
Well, I think Rodgers will be playing.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be either 3 or 3.5, and I'm going to say Green Bay by 3.
Yeah, I said 3.
Yeah.
But there's no line. So, and I think Green Bay wins this game. And the Giants will have to scramble to win that game against
They have a good defense, Green Bay. Even yesterday, the Pats they played so bad yesterday, but the Pats really, really got some lucky breaks. A couple dropped interceptions, especially having Woodson drop an interception when that guy's a ball hawk. I was impressed by the Packers.
So wait, Green Bay, all this time I'm thinking they have to win a division, but so now if they win, they beat the Giants, and then...
The Tampa thing changed it. Tampa losing yesterday was a godsend for them.
Yeah, but the Giants could be sent packing too. Yeah, because Green Bay's 10-6, the Giants are 10-6. Green Bay wins this game, Green Bay goes, right?
Tampa's
8-6, and
it's going to be Oh, I see what you mean, because New Orleans has one of the spots. So it's
New Orleans will get the 5, let's say.
Yeah.
Tampa's at New Orleans the last game.
Who do the Giants have left?
Giants have Green Bay and then home against the Redskins. But if they split those, they're 10-6. So if Giants, Green Bay, and Tampa are 10-6, I think Green Bay goes.
Yeah, so Green Bay, this is their playoffs.
Yep.
We could have just said that 2 minutes ago. We would have saved everybody 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Joe, me to edit that. All right, what's the next one?
All right, Seattle at Tampa.
Hasselbeck was Delhomme-esque yesterday.
Yes.
And actually, I think that's an insult to Delhomme.
Well, and it's like Charlie. Then they put Charlie Whitehurst in, and he drives them down, and they score. It's like, what's going on? This team's really going to be in a playoff game? Charlie Whitehurst is a quarterback? Here's your choice for the NFC West. You have Charlie Whitehurst.
Yeah.
You have any of the Smith brothers on San Francisco. You have John Skelton, or it seems like a declining Sam Bradford, as we spoke about before.
I got to tell you something. The Smith brothers, they're not actually brothers.
What?
Yeah, one.
That can't be.
Different ethnicities.
I got them.
What was this line? So this was Seattle at Tampa. And Tampa was favored by 6 last week against Detroit and lost the game outright. They've lost like 6 starters, I think. I'm going to say Tampa by 5.5.
Why do you go so low? I mean, you're right, but why do you go so low?
Because I don't think Tampa is any better than Seattle at this point.
Seattle can't ever go on the road against anyone. Is this
so what's
true?
the line?
It's 6, yeah. You got it. I said 8. But you were, well, I mean, you're down on Tampa, but, you know, when you call me drunk in the middle of the day, it isn't like...
Especially when I'm with you when I call you. It's weird.
Yeah, and that's weird, too. You just leaving the room to call me. But anyway, I might as well play this message.
Yeah, you may as well.
You left me yesterday.
All right.
Cousin Sal, just watched the Detroit Lions defeat the Buccaneers in overtime. I'm more depressed than when 90210 killed off Scott Scanlon midway through season 3. I'm going to tell you right now, you don't come into Josh Freeman's home and disrespect him like that. You just don't do it. You're a disgrace to Dominic, Sue, Kamakan, Sue, Kalamazoo, whatever you want to call yourself. And I tell you, it'll be a cold day in Lowell, Massachusetts before any of the Detroit Lions gets a signed copy of my brand new paperback. Now I could die reading a book of basketball while taking a crap. Gone!
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird message.
I know. It's really weird when we're hanging out and I leave those.
Maybe
I'll be
I'm
right
just going
back.
to shut my phone off from now on.
Right.
Yeah, that's rough. All right, so Sunday night, Minnesota at Philly. I think you've clinched the week, by the way. 6,
Thank you.
9.
I'm terrified of that Philly. That game that Philly won yesterday now makes it so that if you play them in a playoff game, no lead is safe, and you just have to keep throwing, and it doesn't matter if you're up 24, you cannot let up even 1 iota.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't really totally watching that game because there was freaking 10 early games. I got a lot of emails about Andy Reid.
Well, I guess he blew
did a couple things.
Call. He blew an early challenge call that we saw that he should have challenged. And they're winning despite him. Sometimes if you have too many big play guys, it doesn't matter how inept your coach is.
Yeah.
You're going to be in the game. But right now, I mean, if you don't have a rooting interest, you want Philly to go to Atlanta for the NFC Championship game, right?
It's awesome. Yeah, and you want Pittsburgh Pats.
And then Philly to win. And then, Eagles Pats would be great.
So Minnesota at Philly, it's 11.5.
All right, I said 11, and you're going to get this one. It's 14.
Whoa.
It's way high.
Joe Webb.
And now the Vikings get 3 night games in a row. That's despicable. They should make it up to us in the last week when no one is awake.
Wait, that's a Sunday night game?
It's a Sunday night game, yeah.
Why don't they switch that?
Oh, I guess they could.
Why don't they put Indy-Oakland as the Sunday night game? That would be an unbelievable game.
Yeah, because otherwise they won't have flexed anything out, right?
That should be Indy-Oakland.
Yeah, anything.
Hands down, that's a better game.
Wait, let me see why they wouldn't.
Hands down and feet down.
Yeah, everything down. That's better. Or even the Jets Chicago.
Indy-Oakland at night would be something. That's a great game. I hope that happens.
All right, maybe someone's listening. New Orleans and Atlanta Monday night.
One last thing about Joe Webb. Did you know that in some fantasy leagues he was eligible as a receiver, and people were picking him up in the playoffs and starting him at receiver?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Because they never switched it, so people picked him up, and apparently there were all these different fights and arguments. I mean, not fist fights, but just like big, 100 email chain things about whether this was ethical, and then people like, well, he's eligible wide receiver. How's it not ethical? And it's only a shame that didn't happen in our league.
Yeah, right. This is why in our league, and in which I made the finals again. Congratulations.
Congratulations to you.
Team Salivation. This is why we cut off ad drops at the end of the regular season, so something like this doesn't happen. It's not a murder on Christmas Day.
That's the solution, and you all should be ashamed if you allow ad drops in Week 16 or Week 15. It's stupid. Anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, NBC did flex that Eagles-Vikings game.
Oh, they did? I'm sorry.
So what is it?
No, they flexed it to Eagles-Vikings.
What?
Really?
I don't know what it was, but, CBS and Fox can protect certain games, so I don't know if they protected those games you mentioned that were better.
That's a savvy move.
Once they found out Joe Webb was eligible at wide receiver, they said, we're going to keep this Sunday night.
Bob Costas, they had already reserved the penthouse suite at the Ritz-Carlton in Philly, so they didn't want to back out. They didn't want to lose the deposit.
Oh, man. They realized John Madden's
Meade, that's
not
staying in
anymore, right?
Are you sure that's staying in? I don't know about that.
That's staying in, Joe Meade. Don't care what you say.
Joe. Come on, we don't want to win awards for nothing.
Come on, we're a podcast award winner. What's Monday night?
All right, New Orleans and Atlanta.
That's a great game. Like that one.
This line's weird. I'll give you that hint because you've already.
It seems like a classic. I would normally say 3, but I think Atlanta gets the half-point bump because of how well they're playing. So Atlanta by 3.5.
I said 3.5 also, and it's 2.5.
Ooh.
I mean, all we do is hear about how Atlanta's great at home. They can't lose at home, and now does this game not mean anything? Is that it? Atlanta? No, it's got to mean.
Did they clinch?
No, they've clinched a playoff berth, but they're 12-2. How many losses does New Orleans have?
New Orleans is only a game behind.
Yeah, they have 3 losses. Oh no, they have 4 losses, right?
Oh, and Atlanta only had. Oh yeah, so this game doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah.
So Atlanta, I don't see.
They do win the tiebreaker, even if they lose this game. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong, but.
Yeah, Atlanta's clinched a playoff berth, but not the division.
Yeah, so I guess then what am I talking about? They would have said that they clinched the division. But I thought if they both end up 12-4, that Atlanta still goes. I guess I'm wrong.
Atlanta's 9-1 in the conference. New Orleans is 8-2. Atlanta's 4-0 in the division. New Orleans is 3-1. So basically, if New Orleans wins this, it'll come down to like the 35th tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm. And Atlanta would play next week. Who'd we say they had? Oh, they're at home against Carolina. It really doesn't matter.
Do you know Atlanta's won 8 in a row?
Have they?
Yeah.
I know. I keep waiting for them to lose, and it's not even like they're winning these games by a field goal in overtime. They're killing these teams.
8 in a row. I said that thing before the year in my column about how every year a team won 5 more games than the previous year and then got a 1 or a 2 seed.
Mm.
And I called it the creeper because I was, it was a Jersey Shore height, so I liked the creeper thing. And I was trying to figure out who the creeper would be. And I kept looking at the Falcons because I really liked them this year. I really thought they were going to have a great season, but they would have had to go 14-2 to be the creeper because they were 9-7 last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I had it, and then kind of near the end, I was like, oh, man, I can't do this. So I switched it to the 49ers, which was a disaster because the Niners would have had to go, I think 12-4, 13-3.
Yeah.
But
well, the Niners could still win the division, so.
But if the Falcons go 14-2, that'll be the 8th straight year that somebody was a +5 and got a bye in round 1. So we should look at that next year and try to figure out.
+5, 5-game difference, you mean?
5 more wins than the previous year and a bye in round 1. So every year you basically have to look at the teams that were 7-9, 8-8, or 9-7 and try to figure out who's making the big leap.
I have to look at next year. I can't even pick this week. I have to look
something for us to do this summer when we're not doing mock drafts.
Yeah, no, you're right. It would be more productive. But what do we do? It seems like there are teasers here looking at us.
Oh yeah,
San Diego.
Who are we putting San Diego with?
Well, the Patriots aren't losing to the Bills. Sorry, Joe Meade. And don't we like Jacksonville over Washington?
Pats worried me a little. The defensive line depth is just gone. They better fix that before the playoffs start.
I thought this looked better than it did, maybe.
I got to start forwarding you some of Hench's emails during the Pats games.
What did he say?
Tully Banta-Kane, this guy the Pats have who Hench just despises.
Yeah.
So he kept that Packer drive alive. We got the interception to clinch the game, but he had the hand to the offensive lineman's face.
Yeah.
Hench sent an email that was so vitriolic that I would not even read it on the air.
Why?
He said he just can't stand Tully Banta-Kane, and he's just, this guy's a fraud. And I just have a feeling he's going to do something in the playoff, and that could be the moment where Hench's head explodes.
Good. Let it happen already.
So we got now it can't be this. So we got the Chargers, and we have
Patriots, and Jags are teams that if we put them in a 2-team teaser, we could they'd just have to win.
I'm afraid of Rex.
Oh man, I can't believe you said that. And you're not talking about Rex Ryan.
No, he looked good. Rex looked good. What about Raiders?
By the way, a guy named Rex, which is a classic dog name. If they went into Philly,
yeah,
that should be played up more.
I have it. I have the tease.
Go ahead.
I have the tease.
What is it?
Chargers down to 1.5.
Yeah.
Saints to 8.5.
Oh man, I have to look at that a little more to see if that means something.
Saints to 8.5. You're telling me the Saints lose by, because basically nobody loses by 9, so you'd have to beat the Saints by 10 in that game to lose.
Yeah, I feel like I bet against Atlanta every week and lose. But
hey, why don't you plug the hiatus?
Oh, here we go. JKL reruns. Kevin Spacey, Dan Aykroyd, James Franco, Rachel Ray. I know all you guys love the cooking segments, so yeah we have some nice shows up ahead, but we're off. So,
all right.
What, anything on Survivor, or do you don't want to? I mean, that's.
Oh yeah. Worst season I think ever.
Yeah.
Worst tribal council I think ever.
The last thing where they call each other out. You mean?
Yeah. Dumbest person who's ever won the contest, who then tried to claim that he was like crazy like a fox near the end, but he wasn't. He was just an idiot who won 3 straight immunity challenges.
Absolutely. Completely frustrating.
Jeff Probst's worst performance ever during a season.
But I think you hit it on the head. Like it was so boring that he had to mix it up, and he did. You want to scream, "Let them play!" Like bad news bears, but it was so awful. I blame
Brenda. This was her season. She had all the ducks in the row, and she made the mistake of trying to double cross Sash, and people found out, and then it led to this chain of events, and she trusted the wrong person, but she was so much smarter than everybody on this show. I don't know how she didn't win.
And the only thing, I agree, and the only thing anyone was looking forward to is Nayanka flipping out at the tribal council on somebody. And she didn't. Actually, she quit the game, so there was there's talk about her not being allowed on the jury and everything.
Right.
But she was a nut. She was an absolute nut. And
she was.
Mark my word, she will marry an NBA player, maybe Ron Artest eventually. And
Basketball Wives. She was season 3, Basketball Wives.
It would be the greatest reality show. Another one, let's just watch Rob and Amber make babies in a hut. I'd watch that.
That was great. First of all, why was Rob at the reunion?
Rob, your wife gave birth 4 hours ago.
Who cares?
This is your second kid.
And then he does, I get to do my impersonation. Amber was in labor. We lived 40 minutes from the hospital. We had to drive Amber. And the baby came right out. No epidural. Hey, who cares? I wouldn't have cared if he was in the room telling me that story.
Didn't they? I know. Yeah, no epidural. Didn't they compete on Amazing Race too?
Enough with them.
I thought you can't get your wife to the hospital on time. You're an Amazing Race contestant.
Well, there was this rumor that him and Russell were going to be the 2 captains for the next season.
Yeah.
So when they showed him, I thought, this is cool. They're going to do the captain thing. But no, we just got to hear about his labor.
They're not doing it. Yeah.
And instead, they're doing this Redemption Island, which is just could not be more of a blatant ripoff of the MTV Real World Road Rules Challenge. Blatant, just textbook. These two, they're and they have to have a duel to see who gets to stay. Yeah. On the other hand, I like it. I'm excited they're doing it.
They're scrambling. They are scrambling because the show's in trouble. I brought the placenta, Jeff. I would like you to wear it around your neck.
It's a placenta immunity challenge, Jeff. The underrated highlight of that whole show, though, and you could barely catch it unless you're paying attention, was he went to that guy Shannon.
Yeah.
When they do that little round near the end when he's just trying to get to people.
Right.
And it was Shannon's chance to apologize for throwing the gay card at that guy Sash.
He had called Sash out for being gay for no reason, just really went after him.
And then instead he does the, hey, Jeff, I've always been taught if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck. Jeff Probst is like, what? He just couldn't have moved on faster.
And then they said something to each other, Sash did and Shannon, but you couldn't pick it up. They killed the mics. And Jeff's like, hey, guys, not now. Really? When, then? This seems like a good time.
Let's make a pact, since we're both podcast award winners.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Survivor thing next year.
Yeah, I was saying that to my wife.
Let's do that.
That'd be fun.
It's like 10 minutes from my house.
Sunday. They can't. What time they tape that? In the middle of the afternoon?
No, they do it live, so it'll be 5 o'clock on a Sunday, but it'll be in May because they're having another season.
Oh, the next one, yeah. Done. Let's do it.
I've always wanted to go. It seems like it would be...
Well, I think they probably have the audience there to watch the 2 hours before, right? So you probably have to get there at 2. Let's do it. Whatever.
If you're Jimmy Johnson, do you cancel that appearance at the reunion?
Oh, man. That was rough. Fox couldn't have been too happy about that with Bradshaw in there and Jimmy Johnson. I think he
must have been like, hey, guys, I got to get out early.
Yeah.
I got to fly to... Or do they tape out L.A.?
No, they were here. They were in L.A.
Oh, yeah, guys, I got to go to the Survivor reunion. They're like, really? That was a complete failure. What are you talking about?
Didn't you lose like 40 weeks ago?
It was terrible. It was the worst. And I don't know what the ratings were, but I can't imagine they were good.
It's got to pick up next year. I love that show.
Yeah, anyway. All right, Cousin Sal. Happy holidays.
You too, Billy. Good job this week.
Good job, and I'll talk to you next week.
So I get to sign off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the B.S. Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Podcenter at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.
That concludes another episode of the B.S. Report, and we leave you with this final thought. Subway Restaurants is cheering on Jared. As if losing almost 250 pounds wasn't enough, Jared has run 552 miles training for the 2010 ING New York City Marathon. He fuels his training with the low-fat Subway Club. So now, to celebrate this landmark achievement, the Subway Club is the newest $5 footlong sub for a limited time, so hurry in. And hey, Jared, what's next? Scaling Everest? Maybe kayaking the Pacific? Subway. Eat fresh.